Welcome back to Rescue Bots Academy. Yes, we're still on Season 1, and Season 2 has already started airing, and we've still got a lot of Cyberverse episodes to go through too. So, let's get started. Today, we'll be reviewing Episode 39, All That Glitters. I find it kind of funny that, at the beginning of the episode, the recruits are literally looking for a needle in a haystack. In fact, I find the other tasks that the recruits supposedly did before the episode started kind of odd.
Hotshot dug up the treasure, medics located the missing sock, and Wedge, you found my office keys.
I wouldn't be surprised if Blades legit just lost his office keys and then asked the recruits to help him find them, and they mistook it for a training mission, and Blades just kind of rolled with it. I mean, what use do Transformers have for socks? And what do any of these tasks have to do with real rescue missions? Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and this will all be part of Blades' Mr. Miyagi style wax on, wax off secret training technique. And on the next real rescue mission, Blades will shout, "Find the sock," and the recruits will know exactly what to do. I find it interesting what the recruits say they'd pick for the next rescue sim location if they won. Of course, Hotshot picks a racetrack. I wonder if Velocitron, the speed planet, exists in the Rescue Bots Academy universe. Whirl picks a rescue mission at a zoo. Maybe she's an animal lover like my girl RC. Wedge is just a big Bumblebee fanboy and wants to revisit one of his rescue missions. I wonder how that would work. Would Wedge take the place of Bumblebee in the mission, or would they be helping a virtual Bumblebee? That could turn into a whole thing if this show were longer and a little more serious. Imagine Wedge getting to meet his hero Bumblebee, but it's an artificial simulated version of him. And then maybe at night, when they're all supposed to be asleep in their stasis pods recharging, Wedge sneaks off and goes into the simulator to hang out with Virtual Bee. And then he gets tired in the morning and can't perform his rescue work properly. And maybe he's even a little antisocial because he just wants to hurry up and get back to the simulator and Bumblebee. And then maybe even the real Bumblebee comes to visit, and Wedge finally gets to meet the real deal, but he can't keep his adventures with the virtual Bumblebee separate from reality, and he just kind of ends up coming off as a creep. You know, kind of like one of those holodeck episodes in TNG, particularly one of the Barclay episodes. That would make for a really interesting episode. But I have a feeling that might be a bit too mature for this show. So anyways, yeah, Medics wants to do a rescue mission on Cybertron, and of course, Hoist wants to do an Old West one because he's into the whole cowboy thing. Honestly, I think I would have preferred any of the rescue locations other than Hoist's. Just not really a fan of the Old West theme. Whirl's would have been interesting as long as it wasn't just a rehash of the episode Plan B, but instead of being set in a farm, it'd be set in a zoo. Hotshot's would have been cool because he'd think it's just about racing, but since it would be a rescue mission, not a vacation, he would have to do some kind of rescue work and not just race around the track. Unless of course they turned it into a speed ripoff and Hotshot had to race around the track at a certain speed or else he'd blow up. Okay, maybe not blow up, but get a shock or something less lethal and violent. And the other recruits would have to figure out a way to save him. Again, that would be another cool episode idea. Medics' Cybertron rescue mission would be cool. We've barely seen any of Cybertron in this series. Just the first few minutes of the first episode. Maybe we could see Hotshot's cube friends again. The ones that look like they might be children of RC, Blaster, and Springer. Although since this would be a simulation, they wouldn't be the real ones. But still, it would make for some cool cameos. I did like how this episode seemed to be more of a moral dilemma than the usual social ones we see in the show. Chuck practically throwing the map at Hoist, followed by the way that Blade said,
Think you can win this one, Hoist?
Really made it seem that this was a deliberate test of Hoist's morals by Blades. But why single out Hoist? I really like how we get to hear Hoist's thought process on what the right thing to do is. You never get to see that in a cartoon, especially one that's only 11 minutes long. To dedicate a full 20 seconds of Hoist idling there debating with himself on what the right thing to do is, most cartoons would be too afraid of losing their audience's attention to do that. For the record, I think I would have done exactly as Hoist did, but I would have immediately come clean as soon as I won and let the other recruits vote on the next sim location rather than making Hoist feel guilty for the rest of the episode. When the recruits try and fail to repeat the word Eureka, I feel like this was a missed opportunity to have them inadvertently say the universal greeting, Ba Weep Grana Weep Ninibon. It would have made a lot more sense than whatever it is they ended up saying.
Irina!
Yerk Baba!
Ooh-ya!
Ba weep grana weep ninny bong.
Ba weep grana weep ninny bong.
Ba weep grana weep ninny bong.
I did not understand a thing you just said.
I also found it funny when the old miner pulled out a lit dynamite and Blades quickly blew it out and swatted it away. Maybe it was a meta reference on how this is a little kid show and explosions might be too violent for the intended age demographic. It was really adorable how Hotshot and Medics were riding Wedge. But couldn't they just transform and drive themselves? I know Hotshot picked his hovercraft mode, but hovercrafts work on land too. Did Medics hurt himself when he tripped over that gold rock? Didn't seem like it. Still, cute that they went for a ride on Wedge nonetheless. Overall, a pretty decent episode. Again, it felt like this was a purposeful test of Hoist's morals, but the fact that it apparently wasn't, and that they didn't let Hoist come clean sooner, but instead kept dragging it out, really soured the episode for me. I mean, I think Hoist legit did some good work at the end, and didn't need to be punished by Blades putting him in last place. I think he and Whirl should split Pete's gold, and he should have taken second place. Not last. That seems a little too cruel. I also expected a little more out of the title. Despite what they sing in the Smash Mouth song, the original full proverb is that all that glitters is not gold. Obviously you could see the fact that Hoist kind of cheated, and I do mean kind of, because I don't think he really cheated, but the fact that he kind of cheated could be seen as him appearing to be gold, but not really. I thought they were going to go for a slightly more literal meaning, like the map Hoist found was actually a decoy map that Blades made Chuck drop on purpose to test Hoist. And when Hoist arrived at the spot, Chuck wouldn't be there. And maybe there'd be some kind of gotcha moment from Blades. Or I thought maybe all the gold that the recruits were collecting were in fact fool's gold and not real gold. And the only bit of real gold was the tiny bit that Hoist found. And he'd win, but then he'd come clean, and then it'd be like nobody won. But then they'd have some kind of hokey moment where they'd say something corny like how they all won because they all had fun and learned something, or some garbage like that. Also, Blades is really strong, being able to carry all 5 Rescue Bot recruits with seemingly no problem. Well, those are my thoughts on this episode of Rescue Bots Academy, All That Glitters. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you next time for episode 40, Dig Fest. See you then.